Mark. Hello everyone and welcome to the Beginner's Guide to MechWarrior Online. Now this game is available for free and the link is going to be in the description. It's available free to play game, so you just log in, create an account, download the beta client. It is in beta, so things will be buggy, things will not work as they should do, and things generally, beta is beta, everyone knows that. Now this is your home screen. This is the screen you'll see when you first launch the game. Now the first thing you'll see is the latest updates. For example, there'll be the latest hero mech is here. For example, there's the X5. There are discounts on non-hero battle mechs you can buy with MC. There's a Top Gun challenge, which is a single player challenge, is at the moment on 3 different days. Today, the time of recording, is the last day of the Top Gun challenge, and there's the new testing grounds, which is really good for pootling around maps, learning the maps, and also learning other mechs as well. In the testing grounds area there is 8 other mechs that don't move, and you can target them at your leisure, and you can look around, you can pick off different weak spots, find where the head hit boxes are on the head, so you can headshot them and other things like that. Now the first thing you want to do when you launch into the game is you want to go down here to your menu tab and you want to hit options. Now once you get to your options page, you want to have a play with your audio settings, make sure you're fine. If you're playing with voice over IP, you may want to turn your volume down because there'll be explosions and stuff rocking your ears and you probably won't be able to hear your team. The other options menu, for example, is VSync. I'm not quite sure if VSync works yet because I don't use it. Full screen mode, I play at 1920 by 1080. Turn motion blur off because it looks a bit poor. System specifications, it is on medium at the moment because I did have it running on very high, but occasionally the game would crash. I wasn't that sure whether it was my system or the game just being buggy, something like that. But it's not exactly a pretty game by any stretch of the imagination. So, and at the end of the day, you're there to kill mechs and not really look at the scenery. There is obviously the options, advanced options, pretty much standard fare for anybody who's been gaming on PC. Invert your y-axis of your mouse and that. 3D vision is off at the moment. There is plans to bring it in later down the line. I'm not quite sure when that is. The next thing you want to do is you configure your controls. Now the first thing I suggest you do is scroll down to, there's a command that says Alpha Strike. Now I've got that set to the E key. Now the E key is very close to your W, A, S and D keys, which control your movement, and the R key, which controls your targeting. Now if we're in the middle of a firefight, alpha striking is a bit of a double-edged sword. It can be really good to finish off a mech who's got quite weak torso armor, or it can land you in a whole world of hurt if you haven't been managing your heat correctly. We'll come on to heat in a bit. So once you've had a play with your buttons, for example, you can change your fire groups, mouse 1, 2, 3 and 4. My mouse has 4 buttons on it. It says 5 on it for some reason, but there's actually 4. It's a Logitech G5, and so I set my weapon groups up that way. So your fire weapon group is obviously your left click, and then everything else is right click, and then the buttons on the side of the mouse. You can also use the number keys above W, A, S and D if you so desire. There are other options, for example, toggle weapon groups and that, which we'll come to when we jump into testing grounds. Now once we've done that, we're going to go back and we're going to head up to Mech Lab. Now this is where all the action happens. This is where you get to play with the toys. I've been playing this game for a little while now, so I've got quite a few different mechs. For example, I got this is the Atlas. He's mean, he's ugly, and you don't want to meet him on a bad day. There is the Stalker, which mine is kitted out as a boat at the moment. A boat basically means you load one type of weapon. Mine is a laser boat, which I'm sporting 6 large lasers. Boats are not so much frowned on by the community, but they can get a little bit annoying after a while. Now, not to say that boating is bad, it depends what sort of build you're in. Large lasers, I personally find, is you have to manage your heat quite well, so they're not OP as everyone likes to scream. The next thing we have is obviously your hunchback as well. This is a medium mech. These two here are assault mechs. Now in MechWarrior there are 4 classes. There's light, medium, heavy, and assault. Obviously, I'll show you a couple of different mechs now. For example, you want to go to New Mech Bay, and it's a big Buy Mech button here. Now, the first thing you're presented with is the this is the Battle Mechs selection screen. It's the showroom for Battle Mechs basically, and the first thing it will select onto is your hero chassis. Your hero chassis are special mechs that are only available to buy with MC. Now MC is your mech credits, and you can only buy mech credits with real money. So you put in your mech credits, you go through PayPal. I think it's $9.95 for a certain amount. I think it's 2,500 MC. I'm not quite sure on that yet. But then you can use that to buy hero mechs and paint jobs and other mech bays. Probably the best buy for someone who doesn't really want to be spending money on new mechs is to buy mech bays. The more mech bays you have, the more mechs you get to play with, and everybody loves playing with new toys. So then this is obviously your hero mechs. Obviously is the Yenlo Wang, which is a medium hero mech. With these loadouts aren't fixed. You can change the loadout, but the paint jobs are. You can't change those yet. Then it's got hard points on there, which I'll come to in a bit. Now, for the regular users amongst us, we have the standard variants. These are the running and gunning things. These are the ones who pay for using C-bills. C-bills is the currency of MechWarrior. Everything you do is rewarded in C-bills. For example, if you kill an enemy, or you get an assist on an enemy that's been killed by another member of your team, a spotting assist, a capture assist, anything like that will earn you C-bills. The more C-bills you have, the bigger and better the mech you get to buy. Now, the cheapest mech to buy at the moment is the Commando. The Commando is a scout mech. It's only 25 tons. It's a little ankle biter that loves to run around your feet, but a Commando in the hand of a good pilot is lethal, as with any of these mechs. So don't underestimate him just because he only comes up to the knee of an Atlas. Obviously, the next mech you've got after that is the Spider, which is a 30-ton mech, slightly heavier than on the Commando, but this has jump jets, and it's just as annoying to an assault pilot. But they are great fun apparently to drive, or to pilot, as I've been told. Then you have the Jenners, which are was in the original closed beta. This is one of the light there. So you don't see many of them on the field now because of all the others that are available that are supposedly superior to the Jenners. But I have seen Jenners rip apart Atlases. So be watchful for lights. Then obviously you got your Ravens, which are slightly heavier. Now this one here, the 3L, carries ECM. Now I'll get onto ECM in a bit, but ECM is a means of is a countermeasure. So say you're being targeted by missiles. If you come under an ECM bubble, they lose that lock, and you can't be targeted. So the next class you have is the mediums. The mediums are the workhorses. They're the ones you see. They're the ones chasing off lights. In the canon, in the lore, the mediums are the ones that you see the most. They are pretty inexpensive, and they're pretty resilient as well. For example, this is the Cicada. The Cicada is a very fast medium. It doesn't actually tell you how fast it goes. Oh yes, it does. 113.4. It's a very fast medium. Doesn't have jump jets, and it's got 11 heat sinks as standard, this variant. It's very good at hunting lights. It's designed as a light hunter. The next thing we have is the Centurion. Now these things are as tough as nails. I find they are what's known as, they can be done up as a zombie build. So if you lose the arms, for example, this arm here has nothing on it, so you can lose that straight away, and that there, you still have, on this variant, you have two laser points in the front, in the torso, and 3 missile points. So it's still, even when you've torn its arms off, it's still pretty potent. the next variant above from that is the Hunchback. The Hunchback is a very good all-rounder medium mech. It's great for beginners, but the problem particularly with the Hunchback is this: your giant hunch. It's got a target written on it that says shoot here, because this is where the majority of your weapon, your firepower, comes from. So if you're fighting in a Hunchback, keep your hunch away from the enemy team. For example, this one, the 4G, has an AC-20, which can really knock a few bells on even an Atlas. Even Atlas is a bit scared of an AC-20. They are pretty powerful, these ones, but they overheat. These ones don't. The 4H tends to overheat a little bit, but the AC-20 is pretty powerful. There's the 4H, which has 4 medium lasers as opposed to 2 of the 4G, but it comes with an AC-10. It's not as powerful, but it fires faster, and it makes an awesome sound when it reloads. A lovely, good, satisfying clunk. The next mech on here is the 4J, which comes up with LRMs, which are your long-range missiles. It's a very good support mech designed to help like stay around Atlases and things like that. For example, long-range support. So if an Atlas is in the middle of a firefight, the 4J can launch some missiles from its hunch. It's got 2 LRM-10s, which is 20 missiles per salvo, basically. So that's 20 missiles in the air, and if you can get them to land on the target, they do quite a lot of hurt. The next one is the 4P, which is the laser boat variant, which literally is lasers. It's armed at the moment with 1 medium laser on the head and 8 medium lasers, should I say, on the arms and in the hunch. Now, this gets quite toasty because these medium lasers. I've got the 4P and I swapped them out for small lasers. 2 medium lasers on the arms and small lasers up here. And if you can get behind an Atlas and you're in close enough, for example within 90 meters, they are pretty sort of like a knife edge, like stab of damage. But they're not very good against frontal armor, so you have to get behind them. But with the Hunchback, he can move about a bit. The next one we have is the 4SP. The 4SP is a bit different from the rest of the Hunchbacks, as you have no hunch, and you've got 2 missile hardpoints here, which are loaded out with 2 SRM-6s, and this bad boy is a bit dangerous. If you see a 4SP on the battlefield, then you know that the pilot means business, because they are armed with 4 medium lasers, a small laser in the head, and 2 SRM-6s, which pack a punch. Next ones we got is the Trebuchet, or the Trench Bucket as it's affectionately known. Now these are very much a missile orientated platform. For example, you've got it's got 4 medium lasers which are located in the center torso and in the arms and that, but you've also got the missile hardpoints here on the arms. Now the standard variant for the 3C comes with Artemis, which allows the LRM missiles to group together a lot tighter, and if you're targeting on an enemy mech, the tighter the group, the more missiles will hit that mech, which means more damage, which should mean they go down quicker. And it comes with double heat sinks as well, and I'll get onto double heat sinks in a bit, and as well as XL engine and case. Now there are different variants, as you can see, for different mechs. For example, this one has only 2 missile slots in the arm, but it's got 2 ballistics, and 2 energy slots in there. So this is quite a different style of mech compared to the 3C, which is sort of kitted out as a long-range support. Now, the next mech up class from that is your heavies. These are the bad boys. These are the ones that do most of the damage. Now, obviously you've got different hero mechs. You've got the Flame and the Fang, which are the Dragon hero mechs, and the Ilia. Now the Ilia is a cataphract, a variant, which I'll get onto in a bit. But the first one we'll look at is the Dragon. The Dragon is, don't let its appearance fool you. This thing is fast for a heavy. It may look chunky, but once it's barreling down on you at 81 kilometers an hour, you're gonna know you're in trouble. It comes with very maneuverable weapons, as it's got a ballistic point on the arm and a laser. I think it's 2 laser slots. No, it's 1 laser on the torso and 1 on the other arm. Now, these are very, very fast, very highly maneuverable, designed to get in, cause as much trouble as you can, and get out. So there's obviously different variant types for that. There's the 1N, which has 2 medium laser points again, a ballistic point, and a LRM point in the torso. There's different mechs. The dragons are pretty much the same, regardless of whatever sort of variant you get. So basically, if you can handle a dragon, you can handle pretty much any other mech. The next one we have is the catapult. The catapults are designed in the in the lore, in the canon, as a long-range support mech. They are designed as a LRM boat, which are to launch and rain down some steel death on your enemies. For example, this is the A1. The A1 just has missile points. That's it. That's the only missile point it's got. It's got 6 of them. Now, the A1 also has another name. It's affectionately known as the Splat Cat. The Splat Cat is known for that because you can fit 3 SRM-6s on either side. Now that's 3, 6, 9. That's 18 missiles per shot, and they are lethal. If you see an A1 and it's loaded out with SRMs, do not get within 180 meters of that mech, because it will be rocking your world, and you do not want to do that. The next mech in this is the C1, very much like the A1, except it comes with 4 laser energy points, which are around the front here, and most people kit them out with large lasers or PPCs or things like that, while still keeping some missile support for knocking 7 bells out of enemies dancing around an Atlas. It also comes with jump jets. Now, jump jets allow the mech to reach places that standard mechs can't get. It has a 24-meter distance on a jump, but a smart mech pilot will know how to use jump jets, and once you've been piloting for a little while, you'll pick it up. The next one after that is the C4. Now the C4 is a beefier mech than the C1. Because obviously it has bigger missile points, bigger missile boxes. It loses 2 of the energy points in the front. So it is very much a backfield mech, because its armament isn't really designed to stand up in a full-on fight. This armament is designed to shoo away light mechs who might think about coming close. It's also lacking a lot of armor, and it's very weakly armored. And the final mech in the heavy department for the catapult is the K2. The K2 is completely different when compared to the rest of the catapult series, because it does away with the missile hardpoints and it replaces them with ballistic hardpoints or energy hardpoints. Now, what a lot of people do with this is they like to mount AC-20s or PPCs up here, or Gauss rifles. Now, that has led to the affectionately known as the Gauss Kitty. The Gauss Kitty is a lethal mech, same with the AC-20 variants, what people do. They will hurt you if they get a bead on you. So if you're facing a K2 that's armed with AC-20s or Gauss rifles, is always keep on the move. Don't let him get a bead on you, because it'll probably be the last thing you do for that match. The final mech in the heavy department is the Cataphract. Now this is a bit of an ugly bugger, because in the Battletech universe it's designed out of a mishmash of other mechs, because I can't remember the name of the house or the manufacturer who makes this, but they had their factory destroyed, and they were where they were making their original heavy mechs, and they needed a heavy mech to fight on the battlefield, so they Frankensteined a load of other mechs together, and thus was born the Cataphract. It is pretty ugly, it's quite slow, it's not very good at turning, but it packs a punch. This variant, the 1X, has 5 energy slots in it, and you can boat on these with large lasers. They are pretty deadly, as well as with any mech really. But if you see a Cataphract, the best thing to do, particularly a 1X, is regardless of wherever you shoot it, it's going to be deadly. So you want to hit the center right here. You want to drill all your firepower into the center core, because that's the quickest way to eliminate a Cataphract, because it's going to be shooting at you with all its weapons on its arms and on its torso. The next variant is obviously the 2X. The 2X has a little bit less, a little more spread out. For example, you've still got a big nasty ballistic slot on there, which can and will hurt you, but it's also still got its 3 energy points here, here and here, and it's also got a missile point as well, so you can launch some missiles either short range or long range. Excuse me, sorry about that. The next mech on that is the 3D. Now the 3D you will see a lot more of because it's known as a Pop-Tart. A Pop-Tart is someone who jumps up using jump jets, snipes and pops back down again. I personally find Pop-Tarts infuriating, but it is what it is. Now the best way to deal with a Pop-Tart is to look where they're coming up, because some Pop-Tarters will keep popping up in the same place, and just as they pop up, you alpha strike so it hits the chest and it goes down by the time you finish firing. Now this variant comes with an LBX-10 and an Ultra AC-5. These are properly nasty mechs. These can be loaded with dual AC-5s, Ultra AC-5s, which from my experience are pretty much a death sentence if they hit you with them. They are affectionately known as the Dakas of the mechs, because that's the sound that the guns do. If you hear the Daka, keep your head down. The final mech is the 4X. The 4X is a bit of an oddball really, because it doesn't have the jump jets of the 3D, and it doesn't have the energy points of the 1X and the 2X, and it's more ballistic based, but all its ballistic weapons are on the arm, so if someone shoots you in the arm you lose a lot of your weapons. Now it's a bit of an oddball really, the 4X. I personally wouldn't recommend it to a beginner. However, if you are been playing a little while and you know how to torso twist, you know how to keep your main guns away from the enemy, it can do damage. For example, if you can mount 4 AC2s, which will keep an enemy mech's cockpit rocking so they can't get a bead on you. Now that's although you don't do as much damage, if the enemy mech can't shoot you, then you can just keep shooting it. And the final class is the assault class. These are the big bad boys of the mech warriors. In the canon, in the lore, you very rarely see these, as these are really expensive and very difficult to repair. The first mech you see, obviously, when you select this tab is the Pretty Baby. The Pretty Baby is the MC variant, the hero variant of the Awesome, which is here. The Awesome is an 80-ton assault mech. It's quite fast considering what it is when you start putting some decent engines in it. Some of the mechs, for example the 8Q, and you can fit a large engine. In a couple of games when we were sort of messing about, we used an Awesome as a scout, which is quite ironic considering you could probably fit 4 commandos on the chassis and still have room to spare. Now the 8Q has lots of energy slots, so you will see these on the battlefield arming with PPCs and large lasers, and they're a mech you don't want to be in front of, because if but particularly at long range, because they will find you if you're trying to hunker down, and they will firing at you, and PPCs hurt. There is now the other variant of this is obviously the 8R. It comes as a missile platform, because you've got 4 missile hardpoints in here. So if you lose some of the energy weapons or change the engine, you can actually mount more than the standard missile. The LRM-15s, you can have short range missiles for a pretty nasty punch, or long range missiles for knocking 7 bells out of the enemy at a distance. There is obviously the 8R and the 8T have are slightly different. For example, the 8R has more missile hardpoints, while the 8T has more energy hardpoints. There's the 8V, which is a bit of both, and finally the 9M, which is the most expensive of the lot. It's 11.5 million because it comes with an XL engine and double heatsinks. Excuse me, I'm really tired today. There's also got 6 energy hardpoints. This is, if you see an IMM on the battlefield, then your best bet is to call focus on this, because it will be not pleasant for you if he gets close. Next up, we have the Stalker. The Stalker is a bit of an oddball. It looks like someone chopped the front off a spaceship and stuck it on a pair of legs. Now, the Stalker is very much an energy and missile platform. For example, the 3F has 4 missile hardpoints and 6 energy hardpoints. 2 on the arms, 2 on the front. Now, the 3F, as the standard variant of this, is very, very underperforming when it comes to heat. So if you try an alpha strike with this, you will probably overheat. It's also lacking an awful lot of armor. However, the plus point, the firepower is off the charts for this. It is very powerful. The next variant is the 3H, which is a bit less in the sort of the heat point of view, but it's very much geared towards long range support before moving in for the kill. It's 4 medium lasers, 2 SRM6s to be a very up close and personal brawler, and 2 LRM-20s. It's 14 missiles per salvo for the to rain death on them from afar. Now we come to the 4N, my personal favourite mech of the Stalker. It's very... I boat missiles on this. I boat lasers, should I say. Again, very powerful, not very heat efficient, and it also does lack armour. Now, the problem you'll find with Stalkers are, they're great when someone is standing in front of you with them, but when they get behind you, you're in trouble. The torso twist on them is not very good, and they are very slow to move around because you've got these weird sort of hoof looking things. So then there's the 5M, which has double heat sinks on it, and which are available there. Excuse me, I'm yawning quite a bit today. This is not good. Energy, missile and AMS support. It's a bit of everything really, the 5M. And finally the 5S, which comes with an XL engine. Now, I personally, I wouldn't run an XL engine in an assault because it's very easy to shoot your sides. Now, an XL engine, as I'll show you later, comes with a bit of a downfall. Yes, they're lighter, they're also more expensive, and they sit in your side torsos. Now, if you're fast enough and you're good enough, have playing a while, to minimize the amount of damage you get on your side torsos, you can avoid people shooting them out. But if, say, someone shoots this side of you, the side torso here, and crits it or wears the armor away and does damage to your internals, it will blow you up as well because your engine sits in the torso. And if something hits your engine and it cracks it, you die. So if you bought the 5S and you're not as confident to run an XL engine, whip it out, put something else in. Yeah, you lose a little bit of tonnage, but it's the survivability, I think, far outweighs the extra tonnage that you lose. And finally, we have the Atlas, the biggest, baddest, meanest guy on the block. This is a mech you do not want to meet up close and personal unless you are in another Atlas. Now these bad boys are the kings of the battlefield currently. They come with the meanest loadouts, and they are also the heaviest. They're at 100 tons, so they got huge amounts of armor. 614 is the maximum you can get on an Atlas, so they can take an absolute pounding. Now, there are tricks and methods to getting rid of every mech on the battlefield, so although he looks big and powerful, he can be got rid of pretty easily. But this is the D variant. This is the variant I've got. I love my D. So it comes with a AC-20 here. This is the side torso, which is mounted on there. Comes with 2 missile hard points here, 2 laser points here, and 2 on the arms. Now, with the Atlas variants, you can obviously kit it out and do different things. You'll probably see a lot of people running the DDC as it comes with Guardian ECM, or you can fit the Guardian ECM in it. And it also comes with 3 module slots as well, which is very good. Now, once we've looked at the mech, this is all the mechs you can buy. Say you want, we got Mark. Now we've had a look at the other mechs. We will now go into kitting one out. So after you've been grinding away on your trial mechs here, which with your cadet bonus, if you're a new player, shouldn't be very long, you have the chance to buy a mech of your own. Now once you get the keys to your own mech, this game really comes into its own. Once you start to be able to kit your mech out to just how you like it, then this is when this game shines. Everybody has a set loadout they like. For example, I like lasers. Somebody else may like missiles or ballistics, anything like that. You can kit your mech out to suit your style. Now, we're going to take a look at the Stalker here, which is in a lovely shade of purple. I do like purple. Now, we've just clicked on the loadout tab. Now in the loadout tab we have access to different areas of the mech. Now you can select your components down here. For example, if you press this here, it will take you to the right arm, the left arm, the center torso, the head, things like that. What's the legs? Now so basically this is where you kit your mech out, so you kit your weapons out. Now each point has a hard point restriction. So each variant has a set number of hard points, and they can be ballistic, missile, or energy. Now with the Stalker here, in the right torso it has 1 energy slot, 1 missile slot, and 1 anti-missile system slot. Now I don't have a missile in there because I'm not a big fan of them. I prefer my lasers. So I've got my large laser in there and some double heat sinks. Now double heat sinks, or heat sinks in general, are what's needed in the MechWarrior games, because the biggest bugbear you'll have is heat. Everything you do, for example, you move around, that produces heat, and you fire your weapons, that produces heat as well. Now, heat sinks are designed to remove the heat from your mech, but the problem comes when you have too little heat sinks versus too many weapons, or too high heat producing weapons. Now, for me, for example, this mech is a very high producing mech because I've got 6 large lasers which are very hot. So I've had to upgrade to double heat sinks. Now, double heat sinks cost 1.5 million to upgrade to, and they have a bit of a problem. They still weigh 1 ton as opposed to a standard heatsink. However, they take up 3 slots. Now, in your mech you have slots here. Now, every time you add a weapon or anything like that,
wake up.
You have excuse me, I just got a TeamSpeak poke. You have different slots. For example, this engine here, standard engine, it takes up 6 slots in your mech, weighs 19 tons and has 10 heat sinks in it. Now every engine will come with heat sinks because that's the minimum standard on a mech, particularly on anything medium and above will have 10 heat sinks as standard in the engine, which is the minimum required to function. But if you try and run a mech like this with just 10 heat sinks, it's not going to be pleasant. So this we have to kit it out with extra ones. Now you can either go with the standard ones if you're not feeling the need, or if you either can't afford it, or you have your loadout takes up too many slots and you can't fit double heat sinks in. Double heat sinks, although they aren't truthful to the name, they're actually 1.4% of the heat efficiency, or the 1.4 times, should I say, of the heat efficiency of standard heat sinks. So in this mech, I've got, if we just cancel out of this, I've got 20 double heat sinks, 10 in the torso, 3 on 10 in the center torso, 3 on either side, right and left torsos, and 2 in the arms. Now that gives me a heat efficiency of 1.14, which isn't very good. However, I will show you a way in a bit to combat excessive heat management. Now once you've kitted your mech out, for example on this one we've got bit ballistics with the AC, 2 AC5s, 4 medium lasers and 2 SRM6s. Now I'm going to I'm going to take you into the training grounds now, where we are going to test out how to move the mech, how to control the mech, and also how to fire on the mech. So if you'll join me on the flip side, I will see you then. End.